What's up? My name's Ryan Delaney. Welcome to A Chat Amongst Friends. I'm here with Gregory Coachman. So, Gregory, what up? How you doing, man?
Good, man. Good.
You just dropped a new collection.
Yeah.
It's pre-order right now. But
Pre-order right now just to give early adopters and supporters a chance to get it first for a discounted price, because after the pre-order, I'm gonna have to put it at the real retail price. But I just wanted people to have it early who really believed in me from the start.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like the quality of your shit is like, I mean, you're making a lot of your stuff in LA and like boots on the ground, really in there doing that shit.
Yeah.
You know me, like I'm like that's like my fucking ethos is like boots on the ground. I want to see my shit being cut, washed, sewn, everything.
Everything.
Like not only just the design process, really like walking through and being there a part of everything.
Yep.
And I feel like you've done a really good job of that, and it's starting to really translate in your product.
Thanks.
So, Freddie Frances.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, who is Freddie Frances, or what is Freddie Frances?
Freddie Frances is my grandmother's name. Freddie is her name. Frances was a nickname because we had another family member named Frances who they had similar characteristics, and they nicknamed her after her. So some people called her Freddie, which was her real name. Some people called her Frances. And I just thought the two names looked well together, sound well together.
It sounds fucking sick.
Yeah, thanks.
That's cool. I actually didn't really know. I knew that it was your grandmother's name, but I didn't know who Frances was.
Yeah.
That's cool. Let's talk a little bit about how we met, when we met. It's a super interesting story.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of break it in a little bit. Mm-hmm. Gregory and I worked at a company for about 2 years, a company, but I'll probably bleep that out. And I was running the whole men's division and doing like full design, development.
Everything.
Like I was treating this shit like it was my brand, but I didn't have the say. Like there was a lot of higher ups and stuff, but I was like super close. I'm with the owners, and like I'm there with all the decision making, the costing, choosing the fabrics, the qualities, where it's being sewn, everything.
You were a one-man team.
Yeah, but it was like super contemporary corporate kind of vibe brand. In these corporate companies, in these big brands, sometimes there's like this hierarchy where like at it was super apparent, the hierarchy. It's like there's dead ass like an upstairs and a downstairs.
Oh, and I got a story about, I don't know if you remember about that once you,
I bet you do. I'm upstairs. I have this big office. I'm working with like, I was working with another vetted designer that was like one of my mentors. It ended up just being me after all of it, and I was handling everything. But Gregory started, and I'll let you speak on what you were doing and everything, but and we met, and I just saw this dude, and I was like, this motherfucker's got style, bro. I was like, this fool's got style. Like, I'm like, okay, who the fuck is this guy? And I saw you around Chris and Christian. Shout out Chris and Christian. They were handling all the vintage like sourcing and stuff. We started chopping it up a little bit here and there. First, go ahead and just like say what you were doing if you want to.
Yeah. So they had a vintage department. A lot of their stuff was upcycled denim. So I used to sell vintage clothing. So someone brought me in, Chris and Christian. They said, do you know quality of denim? They brought me in to do the grading. So grading, it just means that, hey, these look like vintage jeans because of the hige on it, or this kind of, like these lines would be like important, or certain distressing would be important, like the rail lines and stuff. I had to be the person like, oh, this would be a great one for that. Throw it in that pile, just, sorting it out that way. And it was based off of my background in vintage and an eye for denim. So took on that job. So I'm like, all right, I can move around a little bit. If I peek my head in the right places, I can move around, because the end goal was to get in there and do some work in the design world. got really close, and then got stumped.
Stupid
and
close.
We'll touch on that.
Yeah. So basically, I see Gregory, and I'm like, damn, this fool's got sick style. We start chopping it up. He starts telling me that he's making clothes, he's working on his brand, and it was this weird translation because I saw it, like, I mean, I'll probably cut this part out or blur it out, but I saw it the day when we were upstairs, and I'm telling you, like, come upstairs, like, let's like chop it up with us, like, come just be around me, because I wanted you to be on the team and end up helping me, and because I was like, dude, this dude's got good ideas, good style, he's meant to be up here, like, so I wanted to bring you in, and we were gonna start creating shit together, and it sounded like we were almost there, and then I ended up getting just so busy where I didn't have time to really like set it in stone. The time that I saw that you were upstairs and we were chatting, and he's like, hey, can you go pick up the water jugs?
Oh, yeah.
Bro, I was like, man, fuck this fool.
Yeah. Mind you, I took a pay cut in order to move up in this world. It's like I was already making more money selling vintage and doing other things. And I said, you know what? Forget that. This is my goal. This is my dream. I want to be in this company. And I did that, and I had to eat shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna eat shit. And
but that's what I saw in you. I was like, oh, he fucking wants it.
Yeah.
Like, he wants it. A lot of the times I would go down there and I'd be doing whatever, like bringing rolls of fabric in. I would go chop it up with you and Martin. Shout out Martin. At one point you were like, yeah, you like explained to me like the pay situation. I was like, nah, fuck that. Cause I'm also a troublemaker in that way, bro. I'm a troublemaker. I'm like,
I almost forgot that. Yeah.
bro, I'm like, squeakiest wheel gets the green. Oh, how much of a raise are you gonna ask for? You gonna ask for 10,000? Bro, ask for 40. Ask for 40, bro.
And
they'll be like,
it
what?
worked.
Yeah, you'd be like, what? I'm telling you, if you work at a corporate job or like a big company, get that fucking bag. Get that bag, because you're putting in your time that you're never gonna get back. And you're giving them your creativity or whatever skill that you have. Best believe you don't think people are getting paid. That's where this weird thing is too, where it's like people don't want to share how much money they make either.
Yeah.
Like it's like this weird gatekept thing, and like now, like especially among like I have like a specific friend group where we're like super open about like, this is how much I made. Like, even if it's not a good amount, like, shit, this year I did shit, bro. Like, or, bro, this year I made the most I've ever made. And we all celebrate that shit with each other because we've all seen each other, like, come from nothing, to like growing to a different position or.
Important people hear this too.
Yeah, so I got my foot in a door that I wasn't supposed to be in.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing what you have to do, which was what you were doing at Redone.
You can grow into a position.
Yeah, exactly. Or you're putting your foot where other people don't think it belongs, but you know it belongs.
Yeah.
And you know you need to take that step.
Yeah.
So, like, if you want to touch on it, like, how was that, like, struggle from, like trying to, like, climb the ropes?
It was difficult because I would poke my head in a little bit here and there just to like, get seen, get heard, or because I was already designing and I would like wear stuff. I wore certain things that I was designing just so someone can ask me a question, but not all, because I'm like, all right, I am working for another company. I don't want them to just like take the idea. Which
I feel like that should happen to you multiple times.
Yeah.
I saw some pants he would come in with, and all of a sudden I would see it on the line sheet, and I'd be like, what the fuck, bro?
So I was like trying to be particular about what I put out there, and then it went to me just like, my relationships. I remember Ryan is one of the first people I became friends with. Once I let him know who I was and what I did and like certain other things, I'm gonna bring this story up. He started to actually go to the, higher ups. Like, can we bring him upstairs to do this or do that? One guy who's not there anymore, he said to Ryan, why are you trying to be Robin Hood? And I remembered it. You forgot.
Fuck that fool.
Yeah, I remembered it because I'm like, what? Like, it kind of hurt, but I still said, you know what? I'm still working on my brand, whatever I got to do here. And every day I will come in and learn something that I didn't already know.
Yeah.
So I'm like, regardless if they hire me for a position, I have everything at my disposal. I said, I'm learning about every wash house, every manufacturer, everything at my disposal. So at one point I gave up on the idea of moving up in the company and just gain resources and learn how things were operating so that I can do it for myself.
Which is so sick that you were able to like be positive about like you weren't happy with the way things were going,
No.
but you took the positive out of it and used that to like grow yourself.
I just considered it a paid internship after a while. I was like, you know what? This is a paid internship. This is something that I could be paying them to learn all this, and they're paying me to come in.
Exactly.
And I'm just learning. And eventually, I did get offered the position I wanted, but then there was some people who didn't like it. It was like,
Oh my God.
yeah. So we had upper management who was all about it,
I forgot about that.
but people in the middle was like, nah, he's not gonna go past me. So then that's when it was like, yeah.
I dead ass. That was like, you know, like when like say like a girl breaks up with you and then after she realizes what she had or some shit, like
Yeah.
that's what happened
That's
to
what
you,
happened.
bro.
Yeah.
Dead ass. The day that Gregory quit,
Yeah.
the day that you were officially out, the CEO called me.
Yeah.
And he was like, where's Gregory? And I'm like, bro, he put in his 2 weeks. Like 2 weeks ago, he's gone, bro. Like he's gone.
Yeah.
He's on to bigger and better things now. He's like, well, who decided to let him go? I'm like, he decided to let him go. And then he was like, well, why did he want to quit? I was like, bro, because he wanted this position. You guys were kind of like not letting him, gatekeeping him. And he was like, oh, we were just going to give him the position to like start working with the design team. I was like, well, shit. And then I hit you up and I was like, bro, they were trying to say this. And you're like, man, well, I don't even fucking know now. Like, fuck that. I don't even know if I want to do that. But it was like politics.
A lot of politics.
A lot of politics.
A lot of politics.
Which fashion has a lot of, which is bullshit.
Yeah.
It's like we're trying to be like creatives, I'm not trying to be like, you can't do this, you can't. There's a lot of that, like you can't.
You can't.
And I struggled even in the position I was in with the same thing, like trying to be like, hey, maybe we shouldn't do this way because it's not making sense for marketing or whatever. And they're like, kind of like, stay in your place.
Yeah.
Like as if like at this, we were like the ones there that are like probably most in the know of like what's up,
what was relevant, what people were buying, what they wanted, what was next. And yeah, it was a lot of stay in your place, and could have been resentful and said, you know what, I'm leaving, or came in every day with attitude. I said, you know what, I'm gonna take that information. I'm like, and I would just ask questions that was totally unrelated to what my current job was. Like, hey, how do you measure this? How do you come up with this fact?
Exactly.
How do you figure this out?
That's
every day.
That's those questions.
They would tell me
ask.
stuff and I would learn, and then I just went and applied it to my own brand. I'm like,
so fire.
Since you won't.
So speaking of vintage Levi's, how was it? Because originally you were just doing upcycling for the most part, right?
Yeah.
How was it transitioning from just doing upcycling to full cut and sew?
I thought that I was going to lose certain supporters behind that, but I didn't, because the whole idea of it was sustainability. And for me, what sustainability is something you can cherish and keep and is passed down. So that goes into just vintage in general. We're selling clothes and buying clothes from the 30s, 50s, 40s, 80s, and it hit a point in the mid-90s where the quality wasn't great. So now you got to think, where is sustainability in fashion going once the quality dies? Those garments are not going to last and be good in 2040. So to go back to today, I said, well, I can be sustainable if I'm making really great quality, and whoever has my garment in 2040 and they're reselling it and passing it down, passing the story down, I'm part of the next generation of sustainability. I'm not making just quick, fast fashion.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was able to keep them because of that, but I'm able to do more going from scratch.
That's what I was saying. Like, I feel like I love upcycling.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of respect for the people that do it, but I feel like you have to do, which you were doing really good, but upcycle is one of those things, if you do it even a little bit wrong,
yeah,
it looks like Etsy.
Yeah. And it's very easy to over design an upcycle. So you're taking something that exists, turning it into something else. In order to make it look cool, sometimes you're over designing, and that's not the ethos
exactly,
of my
because
brand.
you're already starting from somebody else's design, and you're taking it apart, and now you're like, your mind automatically starts going to like, what should I do with this pocket?
Yeah.
What should I do with the, I gotta match this shade with this shade, or just, or should I reuse these buttons?
Yeah.
Should I use this zipper? What about the Levi's back patch? Should I put it on? Should I put my own back patch on? Or whatever it is.
Oh, now let's talk about pricing. For everyone who likes to probably look at something that was upcycled. Oh, that was an old pair of Levi's, and now it's this. Let me let you know this. An old pair of Levi's are at minimum $25, but they can go up to $40. Now,
that's $25 if you're you.
Yeah.
If you go try to buy vintage Levi's, good fucking luck, because you're probably gonna be paying $60.
Yeah. So an upcycled product, say you have to use 2 pair of those to make one. So now you're already in material costs. You're $80 or $100 in. That's material. Now you have to de-thread, sew, and now your product, you're over $100 in making this product. So now you have to mark it up for retail price costs. Sometimes the consumer is like, why am I paying so much money for this product? Now, a new product, that fabric, you want to spend that as much in that fabric, and it's just less of a process. So when you want upcycle, you want sustainability, rightfully so, it should and it will cost you more money if it's done correctly.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like a lot of people were on that wave because it was that whole sustainable thing. And I fuck with all of that. But at the same time, if you want to be sustainable, just don't make clothes. Straight up. Because like I'll go meet with like fabric people, and they'll be like, oh, this is the most sustainable cotton that you can ever get. And I'm like, I literally look at them and be like, stop bullshitting with me. Like, you don't need to sell me that shit. Like, I know how this shit works. Like, I know how like, you still had to use all these machines, come on now. Yeah. Like, you had to ship this shit by, who knows, you probably did it by air, by boat. You're still fucking up the whole ecosystem. But I guess they're trying to do it a better way, and it's a whole selling point. But the upcycling shit is definitely, I feel like it was a trend that's here and everybody's doing it now, and now it's like, I still fuck with a lot of it, but I don't want to see someone's whole collection be upcycled. I think it's cool to have upcycled pieces.
Some pieces,
because then it shows diversity of look, I could do both of this.
And it gives you a chance to be really creative, because it's not easy to do upcycle and make something like palatable that you can wear over and over, and it's hard. It's harder, but it's gonna cost more because it's harder, and it just costs so much time.
Yeah, so what are some of the problems you ran into when you started doing cut and sew? Like, what was there like moments where you're like, I don't know what to do right here? Yeah,
there was definitely, I was lucky I already had the relationship with the dye house, so he knew me, he knew how I was.
Shout out Omar.
Yeah, he knew my style, what I was looking for, and that was like one of the easiest things. So when I came in ready to do something and it made no sense, he was like, that's gonna shrink, he knew, he was like, I know what you're going for. And every time, he knew what I was talking about. Yeah. He knew what I was going for.
Omar has a really, really good eye for he really understands wash. He taught me, I would say, almost everything I know about Wash.
Yeah.
Like, and he's so fucking cool because he'll sit down with you and be like, also, he'll sit down with you and he'll walk you through it and explain it to you and share the knowledge with you. And I was gonna say also, Omar highly believes in you, which is also like a great thing to have, because he's not looking at you like, oh, he's only making this many units when I have these brands making thousands and thousands to bring me money. He's like, I know this motherfucker's gonna be something.
Yeah.
Which, as someone starting a brand, it's intimidating to go into those places when you feel like, fuck, like you're competing. Like, of course I'm bottom of the barrel. Like, they don't care about me because they have all these other big brands or this big name. But it's like, if you have someone in there that's smart enough to see you for not for who you are right now, but for who you are going to become, that's like, you want to work with that person.
Yeah. And prior to knowing him, I tried cut and sew in the past, and prior to knowing him, every mistake I made was always with the dye process, the wash. It was always stuff that I didn't know. And then once I was friends with Omar, that part of it, which was the hardest part before, that was gone.
Yeah.
Then the second hard part,
because he handles all that.
He handled all that. The second hard part was you need manufacturers who understand you, because someone can be great for one person, but they're not great for you. They don't understand like where you're going with it. Like, I'll come in sometimes and I'm like, yo, I want this rise to be this long, and I've had manufacturers like, no. Like, that's not how it goes. I'm like, bro, that's why I'm doing it. Is because that's not how it was. It's not really a thing. This is how I want it.
That is the most frustrating shit, because when you start changing what is like, that's the thing is, this is the problem with fashion school. Because you're taught a certain way of already how to create and think.
Yeah.
That it's already ingrained in you.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, the hem isn't balanced. Like, we have to level it out. Like, I was in a fitting the other day and I'm making this hoodie and it's purposely cropped by like 2.5 inches more in the back than the front. So the pattern maker's like, no, like, look at the front compared to the back. It's hiking up so far in the back. This whole piece is unbalanced. And I'm like,
that was the point.
That's exactly what I'm going for. That's the look I'm going for. And she's just like, but it's wrong. I'm like, there is no wrong.
There is no wrong. This is the look I'm going for.
Exactly. This is. It's not wrong. Even wrong is right. Like, you could just turn everything upside down. And it's like, that's what you wanted.
Yeah.
You want the fucking hood to be something you slide into? Like, that's what you wanted.
Yeah.
That was your idea, your creativity that you wanted to bring to life.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I fucking understand that shit. So, you were going to factories and they would be like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, you can't do that. I said, no, that's what I want to do. And I'm like, that's what's going to give us his attitude. If you don't do that, it's going to be like every other pair of jeans. And what justifies someone buying mine if they're like every other jean? I'm like, no, do that. That's what's going to make people like, oh, I haven't seen that, or it's not commonly seen. Yeah. I'm like, do it. And so then I finally found people who was like, I did it once, I did it twice. They're like, oh, I get it now. And they just do it. When I come in, I come up with something that just seems like a little off to them. They're like, all right, I can't wait to see how it comes out.
It's like, I'm paying.
Yeah.
Just do what I want to do. Like,
yep.
Yeah.
Oh, you know another hard part in the beginning? People telling me, not even manufacturers, people telling me that something that I wanted to do was going to be too hard or wasn't possible or too expensive. And every time I heard that, I still went and did it. And I would say, it's too hard for them. It's not too hard for me. It was not too hard for you. When someone tells you that that's too hard, like, it's too hard for you, but don't put your limitations on me. Like, and every time I went against it, I did it, and I'm like, that wasn't hard. That, to your standard, maybe I put you on too high of a pedestal, but that wasn't really that hard, or expensive, or I figured it out.
Yeah, so you kind of have to like figure that out. Speaking of like working with certain factories or whatever that are willing to do things like that for you compared to ones that aren't, I think it's important to find those factories. Like, for example, you work at a company and you are temporary to them.
Yeah.
But the connections that you get from that company, the wash houses, the sewing facility, the cutting services, the marking engravers, pattern makers, tech packs, the people that you meet, like how we met, those are invaluable.
Invaluable, yeah.
So advice that I would give, number one, is when you go to a company, don't be a fucking dick. Don't be a dickhead. Don't be, I mean, it's up to you. You don't have to take my advice, but being a company man, it ain't gonna get you far.
Nah.
Ain't gonna get you far, because that company doesn't give a fuck about you. But all those people that you met and those connections that are doing stuff for multiple companies, those people are invaluable.
Yeah.
Because those are the people that you're going to use when you go to the next company, when you're working on your company, when one of your homies needs help and you be like, I got this guy.
Yeah.
He can do what you're asking for. And then you're bringing them business. It's all these moving pieces. It's like they're getting paid, you're getting what you want, you're making connections, and it just starts becoming this community of people that are doing things together.
Sometimes that's your currency. Your community and your reputation is your currency. I was in a situation where I was referred to one manufacturer, and she was a little reluctant to deal with me, and then my reputation with someone else, they co-signed like, yeah, he's good for the money. And then that same person that she started dealing with me, she started dealing with one of my friends, and she called me and said, are they good for the money? I said, yeah, they're good for the money. So their reputation with me and then my reputation with other manufacturers, it all went. But if they were just like the first person who introduced me to her, if I just was an asshole and he would have never introduced me, he would have never co-signed.
Exactly.
My reputation for paying, if that wasn't good, she would have never did it.
And I feel like I get a lot of that now, where people call me and they're like, should I work with this dude?
Yeah.
How is this brand? Do they pay?
Yeah.
Or people just even hitting me up for like character. Like, how is this? Is he a good person?
Yeah.
Is he good with others? Is he like a cool guy?
Yeah, yeah.
They're asking me because I feel like one of the things I try to do is like, I try not to cool guy people.
Yeah.
Because I think that's like the most burnt fucking thing to do.
Yeah.
Or like be just like difficult person to work with. Because I feel like there's also like this stereotype or idea that great designers are difficult, rude, mean, or strange people that are hard to deal with.
Yeah.
And the truth is like, no, you don't. That's not true.
You don't have to be that way.
You don't have to be that way. That's just because this person's being a fucking dickhead.
Yeah.
They think that they're better than everybody.
Yeah.
And I get that. Like, egoism it can be a tool and it can be a kryptonite to yourself. Because if you let your ego get out of control, like, you're going to ruin yourself and you're going to become an ugly person that nobody wants to deal with.
Yep.
But if you use that ego in the right way and you're like in those moments where you need to hype yourself up to go ask for that raise or walk into that factory that you're nervous to go ask or go meet with this person, or that can be like the best tool that you have.
Yeah.
Speaking of ego, would you think that you're I don't know if this correlates, but would you say that you're an introverted person or an extroverted person?
Very extroverted.
I was going to say you're pretty extroverted.
Yeah. It's just, I grew up I have 4 siblings, so it was 5 of us. And then even outside of that, we had a lot of cousins. And in the neighborhood, it just was like, being a wallflower just wasn't even an option. It wasn't like, people always wanted to be seen and heard. And that's what got me into fashion. It was like just getting dressed. One of my older sisters, she dressed really cool, and I would just like looked up to her and I would like borrow her clothes. And it was like, that was a thing. Just like if there was 2 options to wear something, you got the boldest one, because you wanted to come out, you wanted to be, it was kind of a competition. So that kind of put me in an extroverted
that's interesting,
situation.
Bro, because I would say I'm introverted.
Yeah.
But I could be extroverted like, this is me being extroverted. But to be honest, the whole reason I started doing this is because I'm forcing myself, because I understand what needs to be done. But I also I'm one of 5.
Okay.
I'm the middle child.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm the youngest.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of cousins and stuff like that too, but I was always like extroverted with them, but like I would always like recluse into myself. Like when someone like, yo, you want to sleep over? Be like, nah, bro, I can't. Like I got some shit to do in the morning, and I know damn well I got shit to do in the morning. I just wanted to go be by myself at home or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to say, like how you said, intro to fashion, like having a competition amongst your family members, like who's got the flyest fit or whatever. For me, like I was the only one in my family besides like one of my sisters that was like into fashion, like, and my community that I did that with was skateboarding. Yeah. Because when you go to the skate park, it's like it's all about like what shoes you got, like what oh, this person's got this. And I was super blessed, and because I feel like clothing brings a certain amount of confidence. Yeah. Because when you have something that you like and that you put on, and it makes you feel a way. Yeah. That's what I was talking about earlier when we were talking about, before we started filming, about emotional purchase, is like, if you put that on and it makes you feel a certain way about yourself, and you're like, this is that feeling, that look that I've been looking for, I'm gonna buy that. And that's what makes people buy shit. It's like, this jacket's $1,200. It's like, I ain't paying no $1,200, but it's like, fuck, I might like that jacket so much I might think about it. Yeah. Or maybe I will buy it. Maybe I'll find a way. I might go on Grailed. I might find it somewhere else for a cheaper price or whatever it is. That emotion, I'm glad you said that, is how I design. So before anyone sees it and it hits a website or any photos, I'll wear something over and over to see the reaction, how the people in the room are gonna react, and not saying anything about it, like I made this or look at this, just looking for a reaction. Yeah. And after doing it over and over, and you finally in that space where, all right, I'm being seen without trying to be seen, in a sense, I'm like, all right, nailed it. That's going on a line sheet right there. Because you specifically, like, sometimes you would be wearing pieces that are so loud, but not because they're bright yellow or something like that. It was just the silhouette was loud in a sense where it's like different and you're sticking out like that. Yeah. And it's not because it's like some crazy graphic or something. It's more of like the cut or whatever it was, and you're already speaking without saying anything. Yeah. You're like, this is part of who I am, and you're explaining that through what you're wearing. Yeah. And I feel like Freddie Frances, it shows that in a lot of your pieces. They have a lot of attitude and emotion. I think that's what's translating to like customers. They're like, whoa, like this is not just another hoodie or sweatpant or hat or whatever. By the way, I'm seeing other brands do that. I saw you were on that shit. Yeah. Fuck, like 2 years ago, bro. And, and I told you, I was like, damn, I've never seen anyone do that before. And you were like, you're going to see it soon. And I walked into Departamento and I said, oh, I sent you a picture. I was like, yep. That's Gregory. That was when I saw that was like one of those cosign moments. Yeah, I was like, oh, all right, I'm on to something. Exactly. Yeah. I had a lot of those moments where like I was onto something, but I let people around me tell me that maybe I shouldn't do that. Yeah. Maybe it's not a good idea. I don't know. But that's what I'm stopping doing now. Yeah. Well, I've stopped doing that, but letting other people see my designs before I'm done with them. Yeah. Because they can't see your vision. They can't see it fully through, yeah. They can't see the whole thing and how it works with this piece and why this fabric they can't see it. Yeah. So, like, for example, I had so many good ideas when I was younger that I slept on, and I saw them come around. I saw other people do it. And I'm like, I fucking knew I should have do that.
Yep.
I would be sending it to my cousin or whatever. I'd be like, remember when I said I was gonna do this? Look, this person just did it. Remember this graphic? Look what brand, big ass brand just did it.
Yep.
Like, and that shit will make me be punching the fucking air, bro. I'm like, I should have listened to myself and believed in myself. So now I'm like, fuck it. If I get that feeling where, you know, when you catch that feeling in the middle of the day or the night or whatever it is, and you're just like, I need to go make this idea into a reality.
Yep.
Whether
you
start sketching it out, whether you start putting a mood board together, whether you start thinking of like, what fabric would I do this in, or whatever it is. I've been telling myself lately, like, don't sleep on that feeling ever again.
Yep, because it's the reason you got that thought in your mind, and then how you just said that you thought of it, you slept on it, and then someone else did it. I saw, I think Rick Rubin podcast or interview where he said something about, you ever have a thought, you didn't act on it, and then someone clear across the globe ends up acting on it. Once the universe is ready for something, it puts it out there. It's just execution, who does it fastest. Timing is everything, but the idea.
Damn, that's cool. I never thought of that.
The universe is just ready for it. It was like when I started doing the caps with the cutoff brim, and then I see a big brand in the UK did it. I'm like, they didn't see mine. I'm like, the universe was ready. I executed faster. It's just they had more visibility, so they're probably going to get seen for it. But
exactly.
I executed faster than them. The universe was ready for the idea.
Or shit, who knows? They could have seen it.
They could have saw it. I know the internet is powerful.
Bro, like, some brands be seeing shit, and they be like, it might not be the head designer that saw it. Maybe it was one of his assistants or associates or whatever, and maybe they put it on a mood board one day, and he's like, that's fire.
Yeah.
Or he or she or whatever. Like,
I had that happen with the jeans.
Oh, yeah, I remember you telling me that story. Yeah, like, see, that shit happens, bro. Like, for example, I made a jacket, and it's not recreating the wheel or anything, but I know a big brand, and I know that I have a homie at that big brand. It was this jacket, actually.
Yeah.
But a photo that I posted on Instagram was on their mood board in a huge board meeting of ideas for design.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm doing something right.
Yeah, you're doing something.
But you get those moments like what you had with the hat, or like what I had with the jacket, or I hearing like at the wash house at this big brand or whatever saw this wash and they're like, yeah, we need to do that, blah, blah, blah. It's like the little cosigns where it's like, I'm on the right. Let me just keep going this way.
Yeah.
Go ahead and steal my shit. Go ahead and do that, whatever. But you'll never be able to recreate it exactly the way that I did it.
A lot of times, like you said, something to be at the wash house or somewhere, and a lot of us go to the same manufacturers. Same thing happened with this hat. It was sitting on the table at the place where I get the hats made. Big company. Some of their designers were in. I didn't know they were from that company. And as I walked in the door, they had my hat like this.
I'm at the same thing.
They're like, I was like, hey, what's up? They're like, oh, this is yours? And then they handed it to me. And then they're like, yeah, we were just talking about this. This is cool. So then I found out what brand they were from. But then I realized how the fashion calendar works. They had to work off the calendar. I'm like, mines are coming out next week. If you ever do it, it's not going to be until next year. So I'm like, it didn't feel like a threat. I'm like, I'm bringing these out next week.
Exactly. Yeah. So speaking of stealing shit, what is your feeling on like being, like what are some of your inspirational brands or designers or people, musicians, whatever it is that inspire you as a designer for your brand? And do you feel like taking inspiration is the same thing as biting?
So one of my earlier people that I looked to was Margiela when I did the upcycle stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Margiela is a fucking, he's the king, bro.
First that I've ever saw put upcycle on, he didn't call it upcycle, but he put old pieces that he reworked onto the runway. And that was why I started to do it. I was like, wow, like I'm gonna take that approach, just take reworked stuff, existing things, and making it into something else. So started off with Margiela, and then later the whole silhouette and everything. I got into that because of Ray Kawakubo. I saw it at Comme des Garçons. I'm like, they can just make something in black, but it's the fanciest thing in the world because of the shapes and everything. And I was like, all right, that's my direction. I'm like, because I wasn't really like, I love graphics, and I think graphics are a great way of expressing, and I think that graphics belongs in fashion, is a part of fashion, but I get bored with graphics. So I love it this month, but that same item, I hate it next month.
Exactly.
But when you take the graphic off and you just work with silhouettes, I've worn the same shirt or hoodie or pants or something that had a nice, crazy silhouette. I worn it from Monday to Monday, and then finally took it off. But then the next month, did it again, and like I've had those items for years.
Yeah, because sometimes a graphic could be the sickest graphic ever, but it doesn't go with, say, like me, for example, like I don't like to be graphic on. You start looking like a billboard, bro.
Yeah.
So usually I don't have graphics on any of my stuff. I know I'm wearing this skull sweater I made today, but like, for example, if I were wearing that hat, I would already be like, I'm not gonna wear a graphic tee with this.
Yeah.
Because then it looks like you're a logo, you know, like you're a walking billboard, which like for us as like brand owners is like, that's what we want sometimes.
Yeah.
But I feel like having that same amazing silhouette without a graphic is more timeless than having something with a graphic.
Yeah. And then great thing is with Ray Kawakubo from Comme des Garçons, her team, with that being a reference point, they're doing things that are so far out there. I couldn't. It'll be years before you can like emulate it. So it's easy to not copy them. Just the ethos of it is, and the playfulness with the silhouettes. That's pretty much where I use for reference. And my other reference is women's fashion.
Because there's so much more creativity.
It's so much more creativity. So it's hard to, because a lot of the stuff I make are worn by men, I can't directly mimic it because it's not a exclusive for women garment. So I'll take a piece. Like even, I'll be honest with you, the Wang hoodie was actually a mistake. It was a woman's hoodie that I purchased, and I had to get a 2X, whatever the biggest size was. If you saw it in a regular size, small, medium, or whatever, the shape was like very normal.
Yeah.
But when
you graded it
to a 2XL, it was a wing. And I'm like,
oh,
wow.
See, I was going to ask you about, because I feel like the Swan hoodie, that's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that was like one of those pieces, like you brought it to me and I tried it on. And I was like, usually I would never go for something like that, but I was like, this is hard.
Yes.
This is something different.
Yeah.
And it's cool. And speaking, like sometimes mistakes make the coolest fucking things you've ever made.
So with their grading, they had to go so drastic because their consumer doesn't wear that big of a size. They're like, I guess we got to throw it in the market. I'm like, well, your hoodie, the shape just totally changed.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, that feature, I'm gonna make that an actual thing. But it just didn't hit the hip exactly the way mine does. I'm like, no, I'm gonna just extend it a little more so it hits the hip, so it's like an actual wing.
That's sick.
And,
that's cool. That's, I mean, shit. That's why I love, like, to me, I feel like that's the important part of being also not only a designer, but being a developer.
Yeah.
Because I feel like everyone wants to be a designer, but developing is sometimes where you find those mistakes and it plays into the design.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not all about sketching. It's not all about mood boarding. When you're boots on the ground and you're in there, you may just see you make a mistake that it's like, I'm onto something.
Yeah.
Like whether it's like with a wash or a screen print process or whatever the fuck it is, like you can create something that's special.
Yeah.
Like you did with the Swan.
And if you're not a developer product, then whatever you don't know in as far as technical parts of design, like certain computer, software, whatever, you can make up for it with knowing how to develop a product.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know measurements, you know where things are placed, and you go into your manufacturer with those key measurements in specific spaces, they're like, I already know what you want. I'm like, that right there and that, like, and you hit it, they're so happy with you that even a designer who doesn't know measurement can't go in there and make their job that easy.
Exactly.
I'm like, I did everything for you.
So I'm a strong believer in there's a language that you need to learn how to speak.
Yeah.
And there's different languages all throughout. There's a language with like the sewers. You know, if you know certain stitches, you can show them, but sometimes they're like, I don't know, maybe they've never used that machine before.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't know where to get it. But if you can start speaking the language to the sewers, to the wash house, knowing the name of certain chemicals or certain processes or whatever it is, like, oh, I want this dry process, I want this local, I want to use direct dye instead of reactive dye, I want to use this spray instead of this spray. You start being able to play around a lot more with the product.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if you feel the same. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like there's a language to that shit. And
there's a language, and you can make their job so much easier, and they can't wait to work with you because of that. Like I don't have to do as much.
Do you feel like social media is an important part of being a designer or owning a brand in 2024?
Not as a designer, but as a brand owner, yeah.
Yeah.
As a brand owner, you need social media. You have to visibility. Like that's how you make your money and be able to make the next collection. You have to be visible to sell things. Social media is the biggest. Streamers now. Like now the streamers are even bigger than that.
Yeah, like Kai and Aiden Ross and all those
dudes are huge. Like so social media is very important if you're gonna be a brand owner. Influencers are important, very important. You need them.
Yeah.
Well, look at the way like Marc Jacobs is like using influencers now.
Yeah, it's
like, they're
crazy.
skipping right over like celebrity. They're like, no, this is how we're
honestly,
gonna
we've
utilize
seen all the
this.
celebrities hop from brand to brand to brand to brand to brand. It's like, we already know those people. We already seen that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never been someone that's super interested. Like just because Travis Scott's wearing it doesn't make me feel like I need to go buy it.
Yeah.
If anything, I'm just like, whatever. Cool.
Yeah. And people are learning how to dress through, because all right, we're in Los Angeles, and then we can walk right outside our door and see how it's worn, or someone in New York.
Yeah.
But then what about someone like in the middle of like another town in California, or like in the rest of the United States? They don't get to see it. They only have social media to tap in.
You know, that's something as if you're designing, you have to think about. I mean, you don't have to, like, because usually when, like, I'm sure people like us, when we're thinking of like who's wearing our stuff, you always have this like ideal customer. This type of person is going to wear it, but it's not always necessarily the case. Most of the time, it's not the case.
It's not the case
because maybe they're aspiring to dress that way, and that's why they're buying those pieces and they're still learning their style and everything. But when we're designing, sometimes we're only thinking of the main metropolitan cities,
that small
like
niche of people.
LA, New York, like I mean Japan, UK, or whatever those certain big fashion places are. But what about the customer in Texas?
Yeah.
What about the customer in Ohio?
Yep.
Like,
sometimes you got to give them a chance to not catch up, but for it to reach their pilot.
Yeah.
Because you might give up on an idea too early. You're like, oh, because the rest of, the United States is larger than just the demographics that we initially go after, the early adopters. And you may be ready to abandon it. You just got to give it some time for it to be a little more palatable to those people outside of that.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like in some of those states, some of the stuff we make is just not for them because they might look at us and be like, they're fucking clowns.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Why are you wearing this sweater, or why are you wearing this hoodie that the sleeves are 4 inches too long? Or what are you wearing these fucking big flare pants? Why do you need so many pockets? It's like, why not?
Why not?
Why can't we express ourselves this way?
Yeah. I just purchased the cargo sneaker. Man, they're supposed the Balenciaga.
Oh, the Balenciaga, the big ones.
They're huge, right?
Bro, I saw those at the store. At the time, I'm walking in, I'm wearing similar, like 501s. I'm like, I ain't gonna try those on.
When I wear them in Los Angeles, no one bats an eye. Like, no one cares. The moment I leave Los Angeles and wear them, people are gonna be like, what the hell are you doing? Like, what are you wearing? And that's fine.
Yeah.
It's the reason why I love living here, but it's like
it's a statement though.
It's a statement, and sometimes I'll design for those people who want to make a statement, and you got to realize that that's a gamble, because you may not make as much money as fast doing that, but you know, that's part of
kind of like Mischief.
Yeah.
With the red boots. It's like, I mean, I don't know what you think about it. I think most people don't actually be like, I need those boots.
Yeah.
But they built like this weird hype around things where it's like, it makes you interested in them.
Yeah.
It's like everyone's like, that's a statement. That's different. That looks weird.
That looks
but it's a genius marketing. You know,
genius marketing. Yeah.
But
and it's sometimes that genius marketing to make that out there product, and this is for designers. It makes it easier for you to sell more palatable products. So just because you make something that's out there and no one buys that, you're probably going to sell tons more hats or t-shirts, just because now someone's like clicking on your website and I'm like, that's ridiculous. But I didn't even know they made these hats. Like, it got overseen because of the ridiculousness of that. So
is there anything that you want to highlight on or talk about for this new collection?
Yeah, there was a lot of time, hard work put into it, and I made this for people to enjoy repetitively over time. I didn't want these to be items that you wore today and there was a hype around it. I wanted to be something that you're able to wear next year. It's the reason why I chose color palettes. It's the reason why I chose even the ones that's going to come up on a second drop. It's the reason why I chose the type of graphic. I don't want people to get bored with their clothes. I want you to be able to live in it. There's actually a disclaimer on it that says the wear and tear on this product is to be cherished and not to be discarded because of it. So if you wear this, something of mine, and it's like it might have dragged or whatever, no, keep wearing it. I'm making it for that purpose, to live in. These garments to be lived in, and I just want to make cherishable products. I want my products to be bought, sold, resold, and I wanted to, one garment, I wanted to reach as many hands as possible, regardless of the price. The price is the price because of what it took to make it, but I want you to be able to wear it, get all your wears out of it, and be able to wear it tomorrow and possibly sell it for equal amount or more. Like, I don't want things to just be clickbait and you just have it today. I want these, like I said, I want to be part of Freddie Frances, to be the vintage of 2040 and 2050. I want it to last that long.
Yeah. I mean, with the quality of shit you're making,
thanks.
It'll definitely be around.
Thanks.
Gregory,
thanks for having me. I appreciate all this.
That was fun, man.
Yeah.
The work behind it, like us, we see all the scammers and rappers and all that shit wearing it, and then we're gonna be like,
nah, I don't want to. Yeah, we don't want to wear it.
I don't want that no more.
I had to tell someone no.
Give me a second, bro.
What's up?
I'm really bad at lines. I'm like a natural talker. I can't do the other shit.
Natural talker.
But then when I look, I'm like, it's gonna be easier when I'm just looking with him, you know.